Today I'm going to be doing this makeup tutorial. It is a look that I did on a client of mine. I uploaded it to Instagram and loads of you inboxed me asking for a tutorial. So this is Martine. She's kindly come back to do a tutorial with me. Similarly to many of you that already watch my channel, Martine had beautiful skin up till quite recently when she developed adult acne, so she's currently undergoing a course of Roaccutane. Her actual skin texture itself is beautiful. It's absolutely flawless. It's just the odd blemishes that pop up that we need to cover. We come up with this look for a Hollywood Glam party that Martine was going to. So I started off by applying Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Cream. Roaccutane does make your skin very, very dry, and Martine is ordinarily an oily skin type. As she's in the early stages of using Roaccutane, she's kind of an in-between at the moment, so we're going to use this to give some plumpness to the skin, but we're also going to use an oil control through the centre of the face. Underneath the eyes, I'm going to apply some Embryolisse Artist's Secret Radiant Eye, and this has a really nice cooling effect, and it's just a great way to prep the under eye before makeup. If you find you have quite puffy eyes, you can store this in the refrigerator and use it straight from the stick, and it's a really great way to help depuff eyes. Starting with the eyes, I'm going to use the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. This kind of neutralises the eyelids, and it also adds a really great base for your eyeshadows, allowing them to look a little bit more intense, and it also keeps them in place. This formula is super lightweight compared to a lot of eyeshadow bases as well. One of my favourite oil control mattifying primers is the one by Murad. As soon as I got this out, Martine commented about how great this product is because I've used it on her a couple of times when I've done her makeup, and that was before she was on Roaccutane. She noticed how well it kept her oil at bay underneath her makeup, which made her makeup last longer. To add a nice glow from within to the skin, I'm going to use this primer by BECCA. This is their First Light Priming Filter. It contains spring water, hyaluronic acid and prickly pear for a nice plumping appearance to the skin. You can never have too much hydration to your skin before you apply your makeup. Also, if you suffer with kind of yellow, sallow looking skin, the purple tones are going to counteract that and make your lackluster skin look so much brighter. Moving on to the eyes, I started off by using the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette, and I took the shade Secret and applied this with a small crease brush. This one is from Blank Canvas Cosmetics, and I will link it in the description for you. And I use this in a circular motion to create a little bit of a C shape around Martine's eyes. If you watched my first tutorial using the new Huda Beauty palette, you'll know that I explained that these colours tend to look a lot more pinkier on camera. The very first picture I showed you of Martine's makeup is by my window in the kitchen, and you can see it's a lot more neutral toned. So don't be put off if you're not a fan of pinks, it just seems to look a lot more pinkier under studio lighting. So I'm using that same brush to layer this colour a couple of times, making sure the majority of that colour is on the outer C shape, and I'm also taking a very small amount of that on the inner half of the eye socket. Next I'm going in with the colour Raw, and I'm using the same brush and I'm patting that on the outer half of the eye. So we're using this shade to intensify the colour Secret. This is the colour that tends to look a lot more pinkier on my camera, but definitely looks a lot more like a warm brown. So now I'm going in with a clean blending brush and making sure that those colours blend together seamlessly before applying a second layer. What I will also say is that I do have to apply a bit more makeup when I'm under the studio lighting. That could also contribute to the fact that it does look a bit warmer than in the original photo. Next I'm using the colour Crave, which is probably my ultimate favourite eyeshadow in the entire palette. It does look very reflective on camera, but it looks even more reflective in the flesh, which is why I'm pleased I've got the picture to show you by the natural daylight, because you can really see how beautiful it is. And the only way to apply this eyeshadow is with your finger. You get the best payoff when you apply it with your finger rather than a brush. I'm using my little finger to apply a small amount of that highlight to the very inner corners of the eyes, super reflective and creates a really nice focal point to the eyes. Obviously a Hollywood Glam needs a nice black wing, and I'm using Inglot's number 77 gel eyeliner mixed with a little bit of Inglot's Duraline. The Duraline makes it a little bit more fluid, it also makes it waterproof, and it lasts all day. Whether you're applying eyeliner to yourself or to a client, always get them or yourself to keep your eyes open because it stretches the skin out. If you close your eyes it wrinkles and you'll end up with a jaggedy line. You want it to be as clean as possible. The brush I'm using is a paintbrush because I find they're the best kind for doing eyeliner. The best way to apply eyeliner to your under eye is to blink onto the belly of the brush so the skin touches the whole length of the bristles, and that way you only have to blink a couple of times and it's completely coated the entire length of your upper waterline. We originally went for quite a lashy liner look, so I applied it along Martine's waterline. Then I used this colour by MAC, which is called Embark, to smoke out the lower lashes. Applying black along your waterline can make your eyes look a bit smaller, so you don't have to do that. You can skip that step and apply cream colour if you want your eyes to appear bigger. I'm using a pencil brush to do this, and I'm smoking it quite low because we've not applied our concealer yet, so I can be quite messy with it. And then I'm using a blending brush to make sure it's nice and seamless. Then using my pencil brush, I'm also adding a very small amount of what's left on the bristles to the outer V shape. The mascara of choice for all of my clients is the Sport Waterproof Mascara by Eyeshadow, and I always use a little comb to apply it to the lashes because it coats every single lash and it's not clumpy. We don't need lashings of mascara because we're going to be applying these false eyelashes by Tatti Lashes in TL3. To make these more comfortable to wear because they come on a thicker band, I am cutting them into sections. If you missed my eyelash hack tutorial, I'm going to link it on screen for you because it will change your eyelash game. The lashes that we originally used in the original post were by Velour Lashes, but these are very similar. On the bottom we used another pair by Eldora. These are really similar. These are the S404. And I do have a tutorial on how to apply bottom lashes. If you're interested, I will link my eyelash tutorial on screen. Moving on to the complexion, I'm using a mix of the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation and Armani Luminous Silk, which is the same combo I always use on Martine. And she's actually an olive based skin tone. Due to her acne, she's quite red in the face. I'm going to be using a foundation that actually matches her neck. It will appear quite yellow because against the red it's quite a contrasting colour, but you can see from the photo I'm inserting now that it actually is completely a good match for her skin. Both foundations have a nice radiant finish to them. I like the coverage that NARS gives because, as you can see, it completely covers Martine's blemishes and we haven't even applied any concealer. And adding in the Armani Luminous Silk just makes it a little bit more fluidy, and I just love the finish that that foundation gives, so the two combined together work really well. So you can start to see now by looking at the left side of Martine's face down to her neck, you can see it all matches really well. But it is a little bit flat and one tone, which makes it look less realistic. So we need to add in some highlight and shadow to the face to bring more life to the skin. As this is an evening look, my choice of concealer is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer because it's great coverage. It's not thick and drying, so it adds the pigment to the skin to give you that coverage and colour, but without adding too much texture to the skin. For more of an airbrushed finish to the skin, I'm using a beauty blender to press that in because it also absorbs a little bit of the concealer, which means it looks a bit more realistic. Then using a small blending brush, I'm working that concealer up underneath those lower lashes and into the eyeshadow that we've already applied to create a nice seamless blend between the two. I'm using the same brush and same concealer to press that over some of Martine's blemishes. Although they're covered with the foundation, adding the concealer is going to give us a little bit more security that they'll stay hidden. To bronze the skin and add a little bit more dimension to the face, I'm using a cream based bronzer. This one is by Chanel, and I'm using a synthetic brush to press this over the cheekbones. Instantly you can see it's created more shape to Martine's face and added a healthy dewy glow. To set the centre of the face but also add a little bit more light underneath the eyes, I'm going to use the Dermablend setting powder. We're going to leave a light amount underneath the eyes to dust off later. Leaving this to set in place does two things. The first one is it absorbs any excess moisture in the foundation, and secondly it will lighten that area. This is something we've done for years. It's now known as baking and people have become obsessed with doing it, but you don't need to be as intense with it. This will give you a more natural finish. Martine has the most amazing natural brows, I'm sure you'll all agree with me. It makes my job really easy because I only need to fill in the brows with a light amount of powder to create a bit more definition. I'm using my powders by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I use a mix of the shades of brunette to create a bit more of an ombre appearance to the brows because we always want the lightest section to be at the front and the tail of the brow to be a bit darker. The brush I'm using is an angled liner brush by Zoeva, and again all the products and brushes will be listed below for you. Lastly, I set the brows in place with a clear brow gel by Benefit. So the powder's been sitting on Martine's under eye for about 5 to 10 minutes, and as you can see it's added a beautiful lightness under the eye that's very natural. It's set the concealer in place so we won't get any creasing and it will stay there all day. For blush, I'm using NARS Orgasm Blush. As I said, Martine only has blemishes to the skin. Her actual skin texture is beautiful. If she had quite bumpy skin, I would use a matte blush because I wouldn't want to enhance the skin texture. But as the skin surrounding her blemishes is really smooth, I can get away with using a light reflecting blusher that not only adds a flash of colour but also a nice highlight to the cheeks. We obviously opted for a red lip as this was a Hollywood Glam look. Obviously no Hollywood Glam look would be complete without a red lip. My favourite one is by NARS. This is their Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in Mysterious Red. Martine is suffering with super dry lips from the Roaccutane, but this is really comfortable and she can also apply her balm over the top if she feels that she needs a bit more hydration. To the high points of the face, I'm applying some BECCA Champagne Pop. I know I use this one all the time, but it just can't be beaten. It is one of my ultimate favourites. And it just works so beautifully with an olive skin tone. To be more precise with my application, I've used a small brush for the tip of the nose, the inner corner of the eyes, the brow bone and the top lip. And then I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush for the tops of the cheekbones. To sculpt the hollows of the cheeks, I'm using this sculpting powder by Kevin O'Quan, and this is just going in the hollows of the cheeks. Around the sides of Martine's hairline, I'm applying a very small amount of the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. Adding it here is where the sun would naturally hit, so it just makes you look like you've got that nice healthy glow from the sun. To finish off, I'm using the Cover FX High Performance Setting Spray to make sure everything stays in place. So here's just a little before and after of Martine's skin so you can see the difference. And then again you can see the makeup by natural daylight to see what it looks like more so in the flesh. I'd like to thank Martine for coming in and baring her skin to you all. I know there's a lot of you out there that suffer with adult acne and I know you will have appreciated this tutorial. Please let us know what you thought of the overall look in the comment section below. Once again, all the products used will be listed and linked in the description bar. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can click on my photo now to do so. If you missed last week's tutorial, it will be on screen. And if you'd like to follow me outside of YouTube, my social handles are also on screen. As always, thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye!